Okay, daily trading recap for this Monday, the 28th of March, 2022. To Christ be the glory, as always. Market internal dollar volume on the day, just for reference for me. NASDAQ $211 billion volume as of 58 minutes after the close. NYSE $264 billion volume. OTC's $2.1 billion volume on the day. Only one real winner on the equity side, still going hard on the futures 930 strategy and also the daily strategy, starting in on the futures open session open on Sunday at 6. So playing that for a nice little winner there. But of course, decreasing my size, going with just one MES contract on those instead of trying to push the ES size. And how I want to be, pushing multiple ES contracts on that type of strategy for the type of overall hit rate and productivity that's been producing. But gosh, I just can't be sustaining those unrealized losses, or I have to factor that into the strategy itself too of my account size to be able to withstand the loss days and also just the unrealized move itself before those potential moves end up happening later in the day or as the hit rate progresses for the overall strategy of when the loss days come, blah, blah, blah. Things that I've been finding along the way that have broken my strategy for that small account. So still going hard on the strategies themselves, but just keeping that size down and playing them just with the MES. So nice little winners there on the day. I think 150 in total that I took just from. I did go just one ES contract on that little 930 strategy. Still looking for 2 points right out of the gate on that first minute of market open in the craziness, volatility of everybody aligning themselves, especially at the start of the week, finding some free nickels lying around there. But that was, so that was futures trade. Yeah, I talked about that too, versus just going with one contract of not risking craziness, but just staying with the strategy, but keeping my size reasonable, especially for where the account is at right now. And then taking 3 different trades, but only one real winner. My main focus today was going to be DATS, but just did not produce what I was trying to predict the future, planning for in pre-market for that nice little dip. Look for the dip, sell into the rip, and wait for even more beyond if it was going to happen today. But it just did not work out that way, so it took a way, way smaller size on it just to still be a part of it, to adjust to what I was seeing to, but it wasn't the main A-plus plan going in beforehand, so adjusted to it on the fly. But that'll be getting into it on that individual ticker, and I think let's go ahead and do that right now. I'll start off with CELZ. I didn't actually trade this one, but man, I was eyeing this one so hard from pre-market, from before market open, even on Sunday. I was doing preparation for coming into today for how it was holding, coming into this little breakout range, doing other scans, and then sure enough, I turned my head and turned back around. 2 minutes later, this volume comes out of nowhere and just spikes the crap out of this thing. I'm going, what? Just freaking out. Like, you gotta be kidding me. And I was like, there was little tiny flashes of thoughts like, oh, maybe just take like a starter little 50 share size, whatever. Maybe just take a little starter size in if it does something crazy out of the morning, or right from that morning bell. If it does something like that. But no, that's a stupid strategy. I don't want to keep doing that in my trading career, just kind of blindly anticipating trades before they happen. But I think there's going to be plenty of opportunity for trade confirmation if that volume comes in during market hours and we can start to see the actual breakout, especially around that $4 whole dollar level area. So held off on that, and then sure enough, bam, just comes out of nowhere. This thing just starts to spike like absolute crazy. Even just looking for news catalysts here, don't see any specific news catalysts related to that, but it's just the first headline I see here on scans is biotech catches pre-market bid to start the week! And I'm like, just shut up. But yeah, and did it again. Literally had a little spikeage here in the second minute, sold off from there, kind of Willy Wonka-ish, chopping around. Not really even a beautiful dip to say it's trying to reclaim the VWAP here, to say it's just kind of a harder dip to technically base a trade off of there if you're trying to play that 945 area dip and rip, or a little bit earlier than there to VWAP, but fails off of VWAP again, but still reclaims. And then so we get to this level, sure enough, volume comes in again, pushes a new high of day, but then quickly, sure enough, rejects off of there again. So just that is the evolution of pretty much all of these charts and trades. It's going to be, there is really rarely ever going to be the beautiful, pristine, repeatable, like, oh, wow, it's holding a $4 level, like a monkey could understand and see, okay, wow, it's holding $4 on the dot really well. Okay, maybe it'll give me like 5 more minutes before I decide to get long. Okay, sure enough, it has. And then immediately after that, then it goes to like $20. And you're just like, whoopee, this is great. Like, that's just the evolution of the market. I relate that to looking back at old Tim Grottani videos, or just, pick your millionaire mentor of whatever the videos they put out in the past, and them reviewing those charts of the days, and you're just like, what beauty. I can absolutely 100% see what they're saying on the charts, but then it's even more so like, oh, like if that chart was today, man, it would just be slam dunk in it, right? But that's just what the market's going to continue to evolve to be, as there's more perspectives and more ideas. And maybe that's a little bit even myopic in that sense too, of not understanding the full flow of cycles, that I'm just viewing it from the sense of, oh, look where it has been a few decades ago or even a decade ago and where it's come to now in regards to patterns. But maybe that is just the overall sense of market flow of how the market evolves and then continue. Like the market hasn't changed in regards to the attachment to human emotion. So that factor is always going to remain the same. Yeah, kind of getting a little off topic there, but that's just what's flowing through my head. And that's just going to be another factor to the market too, of not so much the FOMO, but of just like, hey, I put in the prep work, put in the planning of looking for this specific type of action today, and gosh, there it is, but I was nowhere to be found of being a part of it. So not necessarily frustrated by it, but continuing on to continue on. So that was CELZ. I'll talk about DATS now. DATS now. Yeah, looking for, I'll just get over the fundamentals on this one specifically as well too. American communication software company, 15 million float. Newscast today was they're launching a metaverse and NFT monetization platform. They got plenty of cash. They do have DATS W ticker as well for warrants, which are exercisable at 498, so not really of huge concern today. Entire pre-market notes, planning for this trade. Wait for the dip, sell into the rip. That is everything I wrote for. That was what I was waiting to take minimum 800 shares on, that I had just kind of arbitrary of what my account size is now, pretty minimal on this longing account there, but looking for, hey, can we get a pull to? Obviously, this $2 whole dollar level area could act as some key indicator as well, being that whole dollar psychological level of, okay, sweet, we're opening right just about there, still under VWAP as well. Maybe we do whatever it wants first 4 or 5 minutes, kind of go a little crazy, maybe it pulls back and does start to hold that $2 level perfectly. Oh, what a beautiful entry opportunity. Even if it does just come to 210, hey, I'll take that little 5% or look for anything beyond there for squeeziness, for the low floaterness that it is. It was kind of the best of the bunch in my view of the pre-market scanners that were popping up today. That's why it did kind of become my top watch. But yeah, as I saw chart not really following along that plan succinctly, adjusted with the flow and said, okay, it's doing something different. I still think it has plenty of opportunity or just craziness left within it, but I'm not going to throw that initial huge size on it because it's obviously a far different trade than what I was planning for. So 20 shares, $40 position size, $50. As I was breaking a new high here, 223, I got entered, sold a little bit into that first high day push. If that was going to be it, and if it was just going to be this little tiny kind of fake out that did sell off from there, and then maybe we get to like 10 o'clock time frame to produce some kind of dip and rip action, that it forms a little base and then reclaims the VWAP and squeezes out a few early shorts and then just kind of does whatever. Like how it fizzled out just all of the sides trying to trade this thing today and just became a wash of a trade on both sides, versus today how it just became this monster short squeeze early in the very morning session and then just kind of evolved to, okay, we're holding, now we're testing new highs here, and then how it evolves to as there's more eyeballs on it and tricking around every side that way. But yeah, for this little 20 share trade that I had, selling immediately into this little move here to 2.3. As we get to 2.4, selling into it again, selling into that volume strength push there, still had, of that position size, that 20 shares, I think I still had 5 shares. So still going in proportions of what I would consider the full initial position size, so a quarter that I had left, and kind of testing, okay, we failed at 2.5 here to break at this candle, but it's still holding decently. Maybe we get another little push to 2.5 or just short at 2.49, and I can be putting in a limit or selling into that. Maybe we get a reject off of there. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened off of there. Bounces a VWAP, but then reclaims a lot of shorts to suck in and squeezes to high of 323 today, which is pretty awesome to see there. So straying away from what my initial plan was for it on the day, but adjusting to it and making it an educational experiment out of it, of learning how to, hey, came in today with this specific plan. If it did it, then I would have followed it flawlessly. I don't doubt myself that I wouldn't have, or cut it when it needed to be cut, or followed along with that specific plan. But then as it's showing, hey, okay, we're doing something different today. This isn't that type of chart. And I wasn't necessarily factored into the predictions for what it could potentially do today, but saying, okay, I still feel the variables are there, and I'm just aligning myself that way and setting myself up for not trying to become a millionaire today on this specific trade, but just of understanding this trade is making me a better trader, of going through the motions of looking at the time and sales level 2, of getting the reps in and not making an unsubstantial, unsubstance-based trade, but still looking at trades and charts and tickers of substance with volume, with opportunity. And there certainly was a lot of opportunity left in this one. So great learning experience and great lessons for the next one to go. NILE also took some swings on, one swing on 200 shares that I took there, played it Friday, which was a nice, very, very nice A-plus opportunity there for that chart. And then moving pretty nicely in pre-market today. I think they also had a news catalyst of like they're going to pay off all their senior notes today. That came out 6:30 Eastern time frame. Yeah, around here for this push, but then sold off pretty shortly after that, right back to that original price action level there. But in a little bit higher float, I think 75 million floater it was shown, which is going to be just the same amount equivalent in dollars to control that float for today, and not so typical of a first green day, second green day, third day surge pattern. But we're in that multi-day stage, and now it's kind of, okay, now we're coming into cupping territory. Very decent volume today, especially looking on the daily. Lots of red, which is red to see. Like Turning Red, the new Pixar movie. But yeah, just a very speculative, and this trade was entirely based off of, okay, we're kind of hovering around this $1 whole dollar psychological level. Not call it a little dip and rip. It's just clinging to the underside of a declining VWAP. Maybe we get a little perk and catch some lingering shorts that makes this thing start catching fire, like that type of price action that became very quick in that morning session on Friday. And maybe we can see something similar, and it starts to produce something even crazier. But just did not happen. So that's why I kept the size very small, because I knew it was anticipatory to begin with of me starting in at $1. And sure enough, it starts to hold, and this low day was going to be my risk anyway. Sizing in as I thought it was a little bit of a bounce at a higher low, but it just was not going to hold there, and preemptively got out a little bit early at this 96 as it was still holding and printing on at 96 on the bid. I said, I shouldn't be cutting it because it hasn't broken, but it is just looking so incredibly weak. I think I got to be selling. And then sure enough, one of the biggest volume candles the biggest volume candle on the day was that crack of 96, where obviously everybody else and their grandma who was anticipating a long trade, similar in that morning session, was getting stopped out here to the downside, as shown in that volume candle, to collect a lot of the meat for the snake that is price action. Was collected there, so glad I got out preemptively of that. Still like a 2.6% loss that I took, but I will certainly take it for the not only the educational experience, but of the experience to say, okay, wow, I cut my losses when I needed to, and I made it a profitable risk-reward setup of sizing in at not chasey trade spots, not chasey entry spots, and knowing when to cut this type of trade when it was showing that it was going to fail on the day there for NILE. And then also WIMI, similar type of thing, first green day move. I forget the fundamentals on this one. I'll pull them up quick. Got an Chinese 46 million floater advertising agency. I think the news catalyst today was Holo VR approved by the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, to enter the U.S. market. Decent little news catalyst happening at 8:30 Eastern time frame. Pulling off a little bit. I didn't want to. It was. I was thinking about potentially shorting it, looking for that morning dump short setup, but it was already priced. That initial surge was so far away from VWAP to have to make it pull all the way back down in order to find my potential entry point of looking for a price to fail to maintain VWAP. This was already, and it wasn't that huge of a percentage move to begin with. So even that to kind of disqualifies it, even though it wasn't that float range that I like to see of a little bit higher of a float, a little bit down, a big downtrending history of the daily of just stuck bag holders of voluminous days being overhead current price action levels. But yeah, just of not enough meat on the bone percentage-wise for me to feel involved in it, and I still can't get short margin-wise, still focusing hard on the futures aspect. But yeah, looking for the dip and rip setup. Thought we were holding pretty fairly well at 283 here, 284-ish range that was printing. So got in with, let's say 50 shares, yeah. $100, $200 position size on that one. Looking for anything if it just even tried it just barely scratched its way back to 2.9. Oh, hey, sweet. Awesome. Got a little scalpy there. Again, maybe we can go magnetize ourselves to that $3 hold our level area. Maybe little tiny tap above to a new breakout that'd be selling into with a limit order, and then it falls back down and just proceeds to go to nothingness. But just was not in the books for today. Cut it when it needed to be cut. 1.3% loss on 50 shares. Absolutely nothing. Great educational experience once again on that one. I did have to also mention AMC and Tesla, all the memers. AMC going 45% today, going berserk. Awesome to see, and hopefully starts to ignite some more action in the small cap space and reignite the stupidity and the gorillas in the diamond hands, and embolden stupidity of traders to start going harder, getting more money back into the markets essentially. And Tesla as well, just a huge day today, back at 1192, 6%, 8% that it closed on the day. Insane to see. I was looking at it like this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10th day in a row for Tesla. Crazy to see. Crazy awesome. That's all I'm going to leave it as. Even SPY today too, 0.71% day in the green. Pretty awesome to see there. That is really all I had. Nothing huge right now on my first preliminary scan on anything for tomorrow, but I'm certainly going to keep after it. Extremely thankful for this opportunity just to have the best job in the world and continue to get after it day by day. It is a grind, but it is definitely going to be worthwhile for where that light is shining at the end of the tunnel there. I sincerely thank you guys for watching. We will catch you guys on the next one.